And before I start that, my mistake, I failed to give Donna some information about construction update, so I want to can I slide that little piece in there about where we are on our construction thing? I've asked Blake with Snyder Electric to actually come in and tell you where we are, give you about a 5-minute where we are with Snyder at this point. Blake?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Blake Greer. I'm the project manager for Snyder. Thank y'all for giving us the opportunity to do the work to begin with, and y'all been very cordial to us on site so far, so we really appreciate it. On a brief overview, the scopes of work that we have to complete, we have a water conservation project, we have a computer management project, a solar learning lab project, we've got a rather large lighting retrofit, and mechanical, electrical, and the following, the end piece of it is going to be the automation. We have currently completed the water conservation retrofit. We're in the process right now of monitoring the systems before we request a substantial completion to make sure all the systems are in line and functioning properly. Computer management is actually being implemented right now with Mr. Tony through Julex. The Julex gentlemen have been on site yesterday and today, and for the next 5 or 6 days we'll be monitoring the system and gathering information, and we'll be retrieving reports probably in the next week or 2 weeks. So that's going to be taken care of also. The solar learning lab, the contracts are in place, and we have released equipment. This scope of work is only about a 30-day scope of work, so we probably in the next 30 to 45 days will be beginning in that scope of work. Lighting retrofit. The plans have been approved, design is all taken care of, contracts are taken care of. We've released the material, and we expect the material to be on site within the next probably 10 to 12 days. There was a lag with the delivery of material during the Christmas break and the holidays. I'm sure y'all are all aware, you know, it's hard to get stuff delivered at that time, so there was a little delay in float in that. So we're trying to get that started by the end of this month. Mechanical and electrical, the design has already been taken care of. It's completely designed, M&E. We have our contractor in place on board, and we've already started work at Nelson Elementary. We're taking care of the buildings that don't actually have equipment that has to be procured. So anything that's off the shelf or that can be fabbed up, we're taking care of that already, and that's in 2 schools, and Nelson has already started. We expect a bulk of the material, equipment, probably around 90% of it to be delivered in March 1st. So once the equipment gets on site, that's when a lot of the work's going to happen. Most of the work, in the next 30 days, we'll be doing some mechanical work, but during the summer and early summer, that's when we're going to knock out a bulk of it with multiple crews. So it's going to be real busy then. Finally, automation, which is kind of handshakes with the mechanical and electrical, comes after, and then that's the commissioning process and when we get all the systems up and running 100%. The automation, the design is we have a phase 1 and a phase 2. We had to break it out because it's such a large design that needs to take place. Phase 1 is 100% done. We have construction drawings, and we already have a subcontractor on board with us, and we are going to start that scope of work on the 21st. So you're going to see multiple Schneider Electric people, and we're going to coordinate that with the principals and Tony. That's going to be starting on the 21st, and we're actually going to start getting ECMs, which are energy conservation measures, in place right when they start their scope of work. So in a nutshell, I know y'all have a lot to talk about. That's where we are right now. And do y'all have any questions, any concerns, or any problems right now?
Can you go back to the computers? Where exactly are we on the computers? You're trying to get them to where they all shut down. Is that what the idea is, to all shut down at night?
That is correct. And we get them to shut down. Tony has been working with Julex a lot too, but we identify every computer that you have also. So it's almost like an account of everything. I know, Tony had a great account of what it is, but I think he's comparing apples to apples on what his list was and what we're going to be actually shutting down, locations of them, and we're going to be able to produce reports on when they're running, when they're not running, and the actual energy conservation that they are providing for your school district. For instance, we're probably going to have an umbrella breakdown, meaning that, hey, we as Schneider Electric want a school district-wide breakdown because we're looking at the total KW. However, Tony might request, hey, look, can we do it by school? which schools are starting early, which schools are starting back. Can we actually modify this computer here because she might come in early or she might come in late? That's all feasible through this scope of work.
When do you think that would be completed to get the computers? When will we be completed?
This
on that
week,
phase?
this week, and next week we'll be able to start implementing that. That's the game plan, right, John?
Implementing the server's installed and everything's in place. It has begun to gather all of the information from our Active Directory, which is the Windows network database, if you will, of all the devices on the network. It's collected probably all of, at least 99% of it. It's now collecting a baseline of what's on there and the kilowatt usage of each device. And what gentleman Tim Barber from Julex was telling me, that it takes basically about a week to build a good baseline. So we're going to start WebExing each Wednesday. And of course there'll be questions, there'll be reports, there'll be updates and patches at that point in time each week, or building upon the system so that we have all of the, we've got to build rules basically to tell the system, okay, the school is, we're going to, okay, we took 2 labs as a test at Collins. We built a rule to shut all of the computers into a hibernation state at 5 o'clock. Okay, if for some reason a teacher or a student is still there working, they can opt to cancel that. It gives them 5 minutes, a message in 5 minutes to opt out. Okay, so then again at 7 o'clock we send out a shutdown or a hibernate message to all the systems. It shuts them into a hibernation state. In the morning, we're going to wake them up at 7 o'clock so that when the teachers and the students get there, they've been back online for an hour. Hopefully that will give them time to get the patches and updates and things of that nature. We're going to have to collect this data and determine these times and the settings so that we're getting everything done before the students get back into the classrooms or the labs. So at this point in time, in the next 2 weeks, we will have a real good idea of where those limits should be set. And we'll start building those rules and pushing it out to all of the systems at that point.
Yeah, I had no idea we were that close to doing that. That's great. That's a lot of power.
Hey, let me tell you.
Anything that we can try and do as early as possible and get under ECMs, we're trying.
That's great.
So the design, I know the design, you can't really see that much going on during the design phase, but it's heavily involved, very expensive, and it takes a lot to take the design part of it. So.
I'd like to just tell you that been working with them, they are so efficient. We wish we could do things as efficiently as they have, and demanding of their subcontractors. If I call and say, hey, Mr. Hancock does not like the way the commodes are flushing, I mean, it's like you set things in motion. 5 people are down there, and a couple of heads have rolled over things. So they've been very efficient. Thank you, Blake.
Yes. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
The only other construction piece is the field house. I met with Rob today with SKT. We had Patrick Nix, Chris Smith, and Sherry Holderfield represented Mr. Lee from the band. He was not here today to get their kind of final input into this thing to get going. We know that we got the big plan, but it was a chance to, and Coach Smith and Coach Nix really worked well together. When we can do this and when we can, I wish you could have seen that interaction they had. It was pretty special. Mm-hmm. So nothing's changed outside like that, but they made some pretty major changes inside. That's not going to affect, well, it's going to affect costs and actually bring it down on one thing that they're doing in there. So we're at that point. Rob understands that. I mean, we've got to go forward. If we get any hiccups, then we're in trouble on getting this thing finished. So anyway, that's where we are on it. Any questions on that?
Target date?
Pardon?
Target date to start that? Because demolition's going to take place.
Well, he talked with Chris. Track's not going to be involved. The track is going to be.
It's going to be fine with track.
We're not even going to touch the track when we're going to start that. He's thinking March in that, and then that by the time track season's over, starting that demo, and they still have 3 months. And that should be enough time to get that part done. We just got to hope the building commission doesn't hold us up. If the building commission holds us up,
or rain.
or rain or stuff like that. But everything's looking good. I mean, the restroom's looking good. They are, just to kind of give you an idea of one of the things that, is it okay if I go into this? I mean, that, you know, we were going to have the auditorium style seating for the meeting room. With Coach Nix and Coach Schmidt in there, they got to talking, and, you know, said, that's nice, it's pretty, it's first class, but I would rather have this as an open room. I would rather have this, and I can do this, and Chris is like, yeah, I can come in and do this. And so that's going to save some money, because we're going to have to buy some furniture for that now, and we're not going to have that slope floor. So another thing, there was a shower and a bathroom in the head coach's office, and he's like, and we needed some space for the trainer. And Coach Nix just says, he said, why do I need a shower? I don't need, if I need a shower, I go back here and take a shower. He said, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, I'm gonna go home and take a shower. So they were just really agreeable. I really, and Miss Holyfield too, they come in and talked about how to lay out the concession stand. And so they're not gonna be able to cook. Mr. Leake had asked to be able to put a hood in to fry things. That just, I mean, exponentially increases cost. I mean, even down to, you can't have a concrete floor. It's gonna have to be quarter tile in there. So anyway, that's where we're on that. Now, the safety issues, after we talked to Chief Dahl.
Can I ask one question? When are we to the point where, because you're on a tight schedule, that we have a footprint that we can go ahead and submit to TVA?
Yes, talked to him about that today. The footprint is there, the corners are there. That's not going to change.
So
and I signed an agreement today. I guess it was an agreement for the geo testing. And the way he talked, they're going to be here next week to do soil bores, and that's when we want to send the thing to TVA.